Do you remember the day your personality seemed to change overnight? We're exploring how to help our teams grow a healthy mindset, and that can be replicated throughout their networks. We call this generativity. One of the reasons we can all become insecure early in our life is because we go through a significant brain experience that very few people are aware of. And so we're unable to support each other before and as we go through it. This brain event is called synaptic pruning. How we often decide to approach children can be divided between the preteen and teenage years. But the reason there is this obvious divide is not because of puberty, but because of synaptic pruning. It is the biggest brain event that all of us experience. Before 13 years old, each of us had access to all our dendrites in our brain. We've talked about how our brains are made up of dendrites, which is like a forest in our brains. Each dendrite is like a tree and represents a word. Each branch is a connected fact to that word, and each fact has an associated emotion attached to it. If I say the word summer, many of you immediately think warm and feel a happy emotion. So before 13, we have access to all these dendrites, and that's why preteens are so smart. We adults are not smarter than a fifth grader. As preteens, we walk certain paths in the forest of trees in our brains based on our circumstances, and it's not really an issue. For example, we each had a certain pathway we used regarding preparing for and completing our homework. Once we hit 13, synaptic pruning caused us to lose the connections and pathways that we didn't use most often. And the pathways we used most often, those worn out paths in our brains, became super highways as we went through puberty. So before 13, you may have been thinking about your favorite show and your mom asked you about your homework. In your brain, you went from tree to tree to tree to talk to her, and everything was fine because you were able to find a path that doesn't have any bad emotions. Then, after synaptic pruning, you have the same discussion with her and you snap at her because you may have only been able to take a path that goes through a tree with a bad emotion. Parents will say their child went through a sudden personality change and may even blame themselves. It's not you, it's the synaptic pruning. So, are you ready to help support your home team and the home team of others by recognizing this significant brain event and not blame you or your team members? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to stay connected. Thank you for letting me share my leadership thought. Have a great week.